And here we are, episode 27. Gonna be a fun one. We're gonna do 27 right now live, and then I'm gonna do episode 28 recorded afterwards, and we'll release it at 10 a.m. Pacific next week. So you'll still get it at the same time. But what is cool about this week is that it's gonna be connected. This is part one, and next up will be part two. Okay? So I'm about to head off to Florida. First time ever, I'm going to Florida. Nice long flight on Saturday. And first time ever, I'm going to be attending a conference called Scaling New Heights. Scaling New Heights, really big accounting conference. I've been wanting to go for a couple of years. Really excited. Location played up really well to bring the family along as well. And I'm looking forward to 4 days, Sunday through Wednesday, of education and networking with people in the accounting industry. Generally speaking, I do a fair amount of conferences every year, but most of the time I do one, maybe a second local small accounting conference. But generally, I spend my conference time attending industry specific conferences, i.e., I go to wine industry, alcohol beverage industry conferences where I can interact with my desired client. So, in this episode 27, next week in episode 28, we'll be delving into the question, should I conference? Does it make sense and is it worthwhile to conference? And today we're going to talk about the niche space, and next week we're going to talk about the accounting specific space. I want to start with the niche space because, that's who I am. That's where I spend a lot of my time. I can give you my insight why I do it and tie it into, 10, 12 reasons that you could be doing it. And then while I'm at Scaling New Heights, I can share my insight into why I think it is important to attend at least one important, big, large accounting conference every single year. Now, let's face it, conferences are really expensive. You've got the fee to attend. A lot of the time you're traveling, so there's accommodation, traveling cost, food. So if you're going to do a conference, you have to make the most of it. And that can be tricky if you don't know what you're trying to achieve. I set myself very specific goals depending on, is it an industry, a niche conference, or is it an accounting conference? Again, today we're going to focus in on the niche one. And for me, that is the wine industry. So I've gone to a bunch this year. So I'm just going to quickly try rattle them off. But I went to Unified Wine Symposium in January, largest wine conference in the USA. In February, I went to Oregon Wine Symposium, great local wine industry conference. In March, I went down to Paso Robles and attended Central Oaks Insight. Great, another very local one. And then April, May, I've attended some smaller conferences as well. So I've attended a wine industry conference every single month this year through May. And now in June, I'll be attending my first accounting conference. July, another accounting conference, and then it's a little bit hazy from there on. So, why do I personally attend industry conferences in the wine space? I'm an accountant. Why do I need to go to these things? Now, there's the obvious one, right? There's the education side, there's the networking opportunity, and there's a business development opportunity. Those are the three main reasons why I go ahead and attend these industry specific conferences. But it goes a little deeper, right? We have to be able to get down into the core because as a service provider, I'm giving them more than just bookkeeping. A lot of the time, for most of our clients, we are their everything. Their bookkeeper, their controller, their CFO, their trusted advisor. So I have to make sure I'm using these conferences in a much more in-depth way so that I can create a knowledge of that industry. So when I'm talking to people within the industry, I'm speaking the same language and talking about real problems. We obviously see a lot of problems, we feel a lot of problems, we understand what's going on, but be able to go to these events, I get to hear what other people are seeing, talk about that, and develop my, you know, my knowledge of the space, my ability to empathize, my ability to problem solve even deeper. It is important to attend these conferences because it ingrains you in the community and allows you to better service those people which you want to help. And I really hope you want to help these people. Because if you're servicing an industry, you truly do need to want to be able to have the desire to make a difference. A desire to change, adjust, and adapt to help your target client is really important. So let's get into it. Reason number one, I sort of spoke about it, understanding industry specific changes. I go to these conferences, and a lot of the time, it allows me to get an in depth knowledge of the unique challenges and regulatory changes that the industry is seeing. I get to hear from people who are a lot smarter than me, most of the time, have a bigger team in terms of resources, and it gives me a good understanding of what I'm learning from an operational, financial, and strategic that is facing these companies. It gives me an in-depth look at their problems and gives me the first ideas on how to help them solve it. Number two, the feedback is coming from industry specific expertise. I'm acquiring knowledge from people who are like me, are specifically servicing this industry, and a lot of the time have a rich, deep history within it. When I go to these winery conferences, a lot of the time that people are talking about it, hey, I've been a consultant for 20 years, I farmed for 20 years before that, and I grew up on my family's farm. They have this depth and of knowledge that I can only hope for. I joined the wine industry 10 years ago. Yes, I've been able to build a lot of, great knowledge, but getting knowledge from people who have great expertise, have spent their whole career in it, and have really ingrained themselves in the community is really important. Getting that secondhand knowledge helps me develop my own knowledge, which helps me get better at my own job. I can only get that from these industry specific conferences. Spoke about this, but number three is networking with professionals within the industry. As an accountant who provides bookkeeping and accounting services, my two main resources or referrals are CPAs and tax providers and bankers. People who control the tax return and people who control the money are people who come to me to help their clients. But they can only come to me if they know who I am. So I have to go to these industry specific conferences to find those people, talk to those people, be known by those people. I have to be in the same room as people who are servicing the same industry with me, because if I'm not, how are they going to know who I am? Show up, be seen, be heard, make a difference. I go to the conferences a lot of the time because there's a lot of data available that is not necessarily freely available. A lot of it's on subscription. You got to be a part of bigger groups. So I'm able to go to these conferences and gain insight into industry trends. We look after over 150 wineries, right? So we see some trends. We see things happening within our clients. But now they're going, well, there's 11,500 wineries. And now we go into the bigger alcohol beverage space, and we've got details on all of that and how it's affecting at retail and wholesale and in your tasting rooms. I go to these wine specific conferences to be able to get insight on the bigger trends that are occurring. I'm getting information from people who have insight into a bigger population than I have access to. I have a limited access to information. They have way more information, even though it is on a limited basis. And being able to see those changes, see the effects on the businesses, how it's affecting sales, cash flows, it's really important to be able to help me to have conversations with clients when they have concerns. All of this allows me to be a better advisor because I'm talking to people within the industry, I'm listening to people within the industry, I'm hearing about trends and regulatory changes, I am seeing the big data information sets. It means that I become smarter. It allows me to think more big picture. And the bigger picture I'm thinking, the more strategic I can be and better I can assist people in making the decision making. So for me to attend these conferences, it makes me a better advisor. I am using other people's knowledge to grow my knowledge base to make me a better partner to my clients that makes my clients happy and hopefully makes my clients successful. All of this, it would not be possible unless I'm attending these industry specific events and paying attention to what people are saying and doing. Gathering information from others is a big win to be able to attend industry specific conferences. One of the coolest things that I get to see at conferences, and I've seen it a lot this year because we've definitely seen an increase in technology providers into the wine space. It's a little bit of a slow industry when it came onto like taking up new technology. Excel for a lot of people is still a push. But what we've seen is specifically this year is a lot more openness to different technology providers out in the space. Luckily this year we've made a great connection with our partners Innovant, who've been able to share great information with us. Now we're a proud partner of Innovant. We help our clients implement Innovant. We do costings through Innovant. Innovant is amazing. Get to see those at conferences, get to interact with those people, learn about the changes, the new things that are coming. That's just my one specific partner. But if I go around the conference rooms, talk to people, walk the floors, get to see these technologies, I get to learn and then reach out afterwards and see, hey, would this be able to help our client? Will it be able to help our client in this specific situation? Can we implement this client wide? Is it a way that it will make us a better advisor? Discovering best practice and process improvements that can implement from these changes is really, really great advantage to be able to attend conferences because you have access to a big old world of all these providers at the same time. Unified was a great example of that, where I was able to walk the floor and see what was new. Not just technology, but you can see new consultants, new technology like in the field itself. So when people talk about it, at least they're not totally crazy and don't know what they're talking about. On the networking side, there's a very good chance you're going to run into new business opportunities, meet people that you could have synergies with, meet people that are like, oh my word, I've just been looking for somebody exactly like you. Can I have your business card? Can we talk? Can we reach out? There is always an opportunity if you're open minded, paying attention, that you could find opportunities to either make connections for business opportunities or figure out a new way to bring in a service that could use that technology, those people, those opportunities to better serve your clients. So there's a possibility that if you're paying attention, you can actually grow your revenue streams while at these events because you can actually pay attention to what people are looking for. This is what we need to be successful. Can I provide it? Yes, no, maybe. Maybe let's go see if we can figure out a partnership to do it. It's a really good opportunities to grow your business. Talking about being a better advisor and coming with great opportunities, going to these spaces, I really do think a lot of the time it is a competitive advantage because I'm gaining intelligence on my business, other people's businesses, what the industry needs, and a little bit about my competitors as well. I can see how they're moving, how they're operating, who's putting up a booth, who's talking about what services they're offering. So I can just actually sit back in a corner a lot of the time and just watch interactions. Gives me a sense of what they think is important. And then I can assess, is it important? Should we be focusing on that or should we be doing something else? There's a big advantage of just watching. When you go there, it is important to be seen, right? Talk this important. I love to get my team out to conference. It's important for my team to be seen, met by other people in the space, make introductions. But as we stand as a firm right now, it's super important for me to be there. Unfortunately, I'm still at the point in my business where I'm the face of the company. People want to see me. It's good for brand reputation. But I'm trying to bring people along with me. One person to this conference, one person to that conference. Introduce, introduce, introduce. The more interactions we can get, right? Because I can have 10 interactions and they can have 10 interactions, and another team member can have 10 interactions. All of a sudden, we've got all these interactions growing and growing and growing, and more people has heard our name, been introduced to us, heard what we can do. It grows, the reputation just keeps growing. The more positive interactions you can have at these conferences, the more people get to know about you, more they can remember you, the more opportunities you can help more people. Going to these conferences are really, really important. Educationally, it's so important to understand what's going on in the industry you're serving. How can you help people if you don't know what's going on in their space? If you get educated in the industry, for me, that's the wine industry, it makes me a better consultant. It makes me a better partner. It allows me to obtain the tools to better help the people I serve. It's great from an educational standpoint. Number two, networking is critical. If you want to help people who manufacture widgets, you better go to that conference for people who manufacture widgets, because that's how you get to meet people in the space who are working with people who manufacture widgets, who are the people that manufacture the widgets, and are the people who can talk to the people who manufacture widgets. It is a great opportunity to network, be seen, for people to learn who you are, and for you to make good connections that could be good referral partners, education partners, or even better, great resources to your clients in areas that you have no expertise. Tax providers, attorneys, for me, compliance experts. Those are all important. Me having a stable of good professionals that I can know, trust, and then put in front of my clients is priceless. That networking, number two, is so, so important when going to these events. And number three, going to these events is a great place to build your brand and do business development. It's hard to sell to people if people don't know who you are. I can guarantee you right now that my close rate for people who introduce me from their CPA, their banker, their insurance person is close to 100%. Cold reach out, meet a person at an event, they found our website, lower than that. It is a great opportunity to grow your brand, develop new business, and make your sales process so much easier. So, three good reasons to attend these industry specific events: education to become a better advisor, networking so you know the people in the space that you want to service, and great for business development, because how can you sell if you can't get in front of people? We started today with the question of, should I conference? And if you haven't realized it yet, my answer is a big fat yes. Conferences can be expensive, time consuming, and at times painful, but they are important. They are a great tool in developing you, developing your network, and developing your business. I highly recommend you find time to network within your niche. It will make a big difference. Next week, in episode 28, we'll talk about attending conferences in the accounting industry. If you're an accountant and you're considering attending a conference in the accounting industry, why should you do this? Why does it make sense? As always, I hope you have a wonderful week. Have a great day. Be kind. Until the next time, goodbye.